You know that feeling, the one that rips through your chest like a wildfire, the one that makes you question your worth, your love, your very existence. That moment when the man you trusted, the man you gave your heart to, turns around and hurts you. It's like the ground beneath your feet disappears. The air gets sucked out of the room, and suddenly you're standing there shattered, wondering, why? How? What did I do wrong? Let me tell you something. You are not the problem. You never were. The problem is that he expected you to break. He expected you to crumble under the weight of his actions, to sit in silence, to beg for his attention, to lose yourself in the wreckage of his choices. But not today. Not anymore. Because today, I'm going to hand you something powerful. A weapon stronger than anger, deeper than revenge, and more effective than tears. Confusion. That's right, confuse him. Shift the script. Take back control. Make him question everything he thought he knew about you. Because when you do, you unlock the kind of power most people never tap into. And the best part? You won't just confuse him. You'll rediscover you. Now listen closely, because this is where everything changes. Here's how you flip the script and take back control. If you've ever felt powerless, this is how you take your power back. This is not about revenge. It's about reclaiming yourself. Are you ready to shock the hell out of him? Here's how. Go silent. The absence of your reaction is louder than any words you could ever say. Silence is the most powerful response you can ever give to someone who hurt you. It is a statement without speaking, a scream without sound, and a force that shakes the ground beneath the feet of the one who thought they could break you. When a man hurts you, his power lies in your reaction, your anger, your pain, your desperate need for an explanation. That's what he expects. That's what fuels him. But when you go silent, you strip him of that power. You disrupt the entire dynamic, leaving him in a state of confusion he never saw coming. Silence makes him question everything. It forces him to wonder what you're thinking, what you're planning, and why you're not reacting the way he thought you would. And that uncertainty, it's unbearable. He expects you to cry, to call to demand answers. He expects a storm. Instead, you give him stillness, a void, and that void will haunt him more than any words you could ever say. The power of silence is psychological. The human mind craves closure. It seeks resolution, especially when conflict arises. That's why people argue, why they scream and fight. Because deep down, they want to be heard, to feel validated, to find some sense of finality. But when you remove yourself from that cycle, when you refuse to engage, you leave the other person spinning in a loop of their own unanswered questions. He will replay the last conversation in his mind, analyzing every detail, searching for a clue. He will wonder if you are angry, if you are heartbroken, or if you simply don't care. And that last possibility, that will drive him mad. Going silent doesn't mean weakness. It's not about ignoring your emotions or pretending you don't care. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about showing, not telling, that you are stronger than the pain he inflicted, that you are above the drama, that you are in control of your own narrative. Silence is a boundary, an unspoken declaration that you will not allow someone else's actions to dictate your peace. And let's be honest, silence is unsettling. We are conditioned to expect reactions. When we hurt someone, we anticipate a response. We brace for impact, for the confrontation, for the fallout. But when none of that comes, it creates a void that demands attention. It forces reflection. When you stop talking, he starts thinking. And in that thinking, he begins to feel the weight of his own actions. He starts to realize that maybe, just maybe, he miscalculated. That maybe he didn't break you the way he thought he would. This is not about playing games. This is not about manipulation. It's about shifting the energy, about refusing to feed into a cycle of pain and reaction. It's about choosing yourself over the need to explain, justify, or beg for clarity. The moment you stop explaining yourself to someone who has already shown you they don't value your emotions is the moment you take back your power. Imagine this. He sends a hurtful text expecting a response. He waits and waits, but your phone stays silent. No angry reply, no emotional outburst, just silence. And that silence starts to eat at him. He checks his phone again and again, expecting something. When nothing comes, doubt creeps in. He wonders if he went too far, if he lost you, if you've moved on. The very thing he never considered before, your absence, suddenly becomes his biggest fear. Now, let's take it a step further. Imagine you've always been the one to reach out first. The one to apologize even when it wasn't your fault. The one who fights to keep the connection alive. It is a good. And then one day you stop. No warnings, no explanations, just silence. He calls, but you don't pick up. He texts, but you leave him unread. Suddenly, the dynamic shifts. The control he thought he had slips through his fingers like sand. He realizes he's not as important as he believed. He starts to wonder if you ever needed him at all. This is why silence is a game changer. It forces a man to face himself. It forces him to sit with his own actions, to feel the weight of them without your emotional reaction softening the blow. When you go silent, you give him the opportunity to truly feel the consequences of his choices. And that's far more powerful than any argument, any begging, any attempt to make him understand. Silence is strength. It is the act of walking away with your dignity intact. It is choosing peace over chaos, self-respect over temporary validation. It is the decision to stop giving your energy to someone who has proven they don't deserve it. And here's the real beauty of it. Silence doesn't just confuse him, it heals you. When you stop focusing on how he feels, what he thinks, and what he's going to do next, you create space for yourself. You redirect your energy inward. You begin to hear your own thoughts again, feel your own emotions without the noise of his influence. You realize that your worth was never tied to his attention, that your happiness never depended on his actions. In the silence, you rediscover yourself. You remember who you were before the hurt, before the chaos, before you allowed someone else to dictate how you felt about yourself. You find clarity, strength, and a deep, unshakable knowing that you deserve better. And that is the ultimate power move. Level up. Invest in yourself, glow differently, and make him realize he underestimated you. Pain has two options. It can break you, or it can build you, And when a man hurts you, when he takes you for granted, when he walks away as if you never mattered, the most powerful thing you can do is transform. Not for him, not for revenge, but for yourself. Because the best way to heal isn't to dwell in the pain. It's to rise so high above it that it becomes nothing more than a distant memory. When you level up, something shifts inside you. The version of you that tolerated disrespect, that accepted less than she deserved, that bent over backward for someone who never met her halfway, that version of you disappears, and in her place, a new woman emerges. A woman who knows her worth. A woman who doesn't need closure because she's too busy creating a life that feels like freedom. A woman who no longer waits for someone to see her value because she has already claimed it for herself. People expect you to crumble after heartbreak. They expect you to shrink, to lose yourself in the sadness, to let the weight of rejection define you. That's what he expects. But imagine his shock when he sees you thriving instead. Imagine the confusion that settles in when he realizes that the woman he thought he could break has become untouchable. That's the moment he understands he never truly knew you at all. Leveling up isn't just about external changes. It's about rewiring the way you see yourself. It's about replacing the version of you that tolerated mistreatment with the version that refuses to settle. It's about developing an unshakable confidence that doesn't waver based on who stays or who leaves. And the truth is, once you step into that power, there's no going back. The glow up starts in your mind. Before you change your appearance, before you shift your habits, you have to change your perspective. You have to decide that you are done settling for anything that doesn't elevate you. You have to commit to becoming the woman you were always meant to be, the one who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, and doesn't wait for permission to live fully. Then you start taking action. You take all the energy you once gave to him and pour it into yourself. You invest in your mind, your body, your soul. You start learning, growing, expanding. You focus on your passions, your dreams, your goals. You become so deeply involved in your own evolution that his absence becomes irrelevant. Maybe that means hitting the gym, not to make him jealous, but to feel stronger, to reconnect with your body, to remind yourself of your power. Maybe it means diving into your career, pushing yourself beyond limits you once thought existed. Maybe it means traveling, seeing the world through fresh eyes, realizing how small he is in the grand scheme of your life. Maybe it means therapy, healing old wounds, breaking generational cycles so that you never allow someone like him to have power over you again. And here's what happens when you do this. Your energy shifts. People notice you walk differently. You speak differently. You radiate confidence, and that confidence is magnetic. The people who once overlooked you suddenly see you in a new light. The man who thought he had you figured out finds himself questioning everything. He wonders if he ever really knew you, if he made a mistake, if maybe, just maybe, he lost something he will never get back. But by then, it doesn't even matter, because the moment you level up, you stop looking back. You stop waiting for an apology that won't change anything. You stop hoping for closure that you've already given yourself. You stop seeing him as the loss and start realizing that the real loss would have been staying the same. This is about reclaiming yourself. It's about becoming the woman who never again has to question her worth based on someone else's inability to see it. It's about standing so firmly in your power that no man, no situation, no heartbreak can shake your foundation. And the best part, this isn't just about him. This is about you. Your happiness, your growth, your evolution. This is about stepping into the version of yourself that is unstoppable. The version that no longer waits for someone to love her the right way because she has already learned to love herself that deeply. So let him watch. Let him wonder. Let him sit in the confusion of his own choices. Because while he's stuck in the past, you'll be too busy creating a future so bright that he can't even reach you anymore. Don't agree with him. Instead of fighting back, agree with his nonsense. It'll leave him speechless. When someone hurts you, your first instinct is to defend yourself, to argue, to explain, to prove your worth. You want to make him understand what he did, to force him to see the damage, to wake him up to reality. But here's the truth. Arguing gives him power. It means he still controls your emotions. It means he can still get a reaction out of you. And that's exactly what he wants. So instead of giving him the fight he's expecting, do the opposite. Agree with him. Confuse him. Make him question everything. Because nothing is more disorienting than expecting a battle and getting complete indifference instead. Imagine this. He looks you in the eyes, tells you that you're too much, that you're too emotional, that you expect too much from him. The old you would have defended yourself, tried to explain why your emotions are valid, why your needs deserve to be met. The new you, she just smiles and says, you're absolutely right. That's it. No anger, no tears, no trying to make him see the truth. Just full agreement. And watch what happens next. He pauses. He stares. His brain scrambles to process what just happened because he was expecting resistance. He was expecting a debate. He was expecting to hold the upper hand. But instead, you flip the entire script. Agreeing with him takes away his control. It forces him to second guess himself. It makes him wonder if he just lost something valuable. And that doubt, that's where your power is. Free. Think about every toxic argument you've ever had with him. The same cycle over and over. He does something hurtful. You call him out. He gaslights you, makes you feel like you're overreacting. You try harder to prove your point, to make him understand. But the more you fight, the more he distances himself. He wins because he's gotten it into your head. But when you agree, that entire cycle shatters. He no longer gets the satisfaction of watching you crumble. He no longer gets the ego boost of knowing he still affects you. Instead, he's left wondering if maybe, just maybe, he miscalculated. This isn't about letting him be right. This isn't about accepting disrespect. This is about disrupting his expectations so completely that he can no longer manipulate you. Imagine he says, I think we need space. Instead of begging him to stay, you simply reply, you're right, we do. Now he's the one feeling uneasy because the moment he realizes you're not clinging to him, not chasing after him, not playing into his mind games, he starts questioning if he really wanted space in the first place. Imagine he says, I don't think I can give you what you need. Instead of pleading for more effort, you just nod and say, I see that now. The weight of those words is heavier than any argument. It forces him to sit with his own reality. It forces him to wonder if he actually meant what he said or if he was just pushing boundaries, testing how much you'd fight to keep him. But now there's no fight. There's just a quiet acceptance that tells him you're done playing his game. And here's the best part. When you stop reacting, when you stop trying to prove your worth, you shift the dynamic entirely. You go from being the one chasing clarity to being the one walking away without looking back. Men like this thrive on power. They feed off of the emotional responses they can pull from you. They want to feel needed, irreplaceable, in control. But when you agree with their dismissive words, when you nod and simply let them go, You force them into an unfamiliar territory, one where they're the ones questioning everything. Because now, instead of being certain that you'll always fight for them, they have to wonder if you even care anymore. And that is a feeling they're not prepared for. They start overanalyzing the conversation. They wonder if they pushed too far. They wonder if they underestimate. They wonder if maybe, just maybe, they made a mistake. And that confusion, that doubt, that's where the tables turn. But by the time they realize what happened, it's already too late, because you've already stepped into a new mindset. A mindset where you no longer feel the need to explain your worth. A mindset where you don't beg for respect. You demand it by walking away from anything less. And when you do that, you stop being the one who's left hurt and start being the one who got away. Show no emotion. Nothing confuses a man more than expecting tears and getting indifference. There's a moment after someone hurts you when they look at you, waiting to see the pain in your eyes, waiting to see the heartbreak settle in your expression, waiting for the reaction they know is coming, the anger, the sadness, the pleading. Because they think they know you. They think they have you figured out. They think that by hurting you, they've gained control over your emotion. But what happens when you give them nothing? When the reaction they were expecting never comes, when they search your face for emotion and find only calmness, only stillness, only silence, that's when the real confusion begins. That's when the power shifts. People expect you to break when they hurt you. They expect an explosion, a dramatic response, a moment where they see their impact on you. That's how they confirm their own importance. That's how they feed their ego. But when you deny them when you refuse to give them the satisfaction of knowing they affected you, that's when their certainty crumbles. Imagine a man who thought he could bring you to your knees with his words, his actions, his betrayal. Imagine him waiting for the emotional outburst, for the long paragraph of texts, for the desperate attempt to make him understand what he's done. But instead, he gets silence. He gets a nod, a shrug, a simple okay before you turn and walk away. That moment will haunt him more than any angry confrontation ever could. When you show no emotion, you take back control. Because emotions, especially pain, give people leverage over you. They know that if they can make you feel, they can manipulate your reactions. They can use your love, your anger, your sadness as a tool to keep you connected to them. But when they hurt you and you act as if it never even touched you, they lose that power. They don't know where they stand. They don't know what to do next. And that uncertainty drives them crazy. It's not about pretending you don't care. It's about choosing to hold your power rather than handing it to someone who doesn't deserve it. It's about understanding that your emotions are precious, that not everyone is worthy of seeing your vulnerability, that sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is to protect your peace. Think about the last time you reacted emotionally to someone who hurt you. Maybe you yelled, maybe you cried, maybe you begged for an explanation, for closure, for something that made the pain make sense. And what did it do? Did it change the outcome? Did it make him treat you differently? Or did it just give him the reassurance that he still had a hold on you? When you stop reacting, when you stop allowing people to see how deeply they've affected you, you force them to deal with their own actions without your emotions softening the blow. You force them to sit with what they've done, to wonder if they miscalculated, to question if they ever really had control over you at all. And the truth is, nothing is more attractive, nothing is more powerful than a woman who refuses to be broken. A woman who takes the pain, absorbs it, and transforms it into strength. A woman who doesn't need validation from the man who hurt her because she already knows her worth. He will expect you to break. He will expect you to lash out, to seek revenge, to chase him for answers. But when you show him nothing, when you simply move on without a second glance, he will be left standing in his own confusion, wondering what just happened, wondering if he ever meant anything to you at all, wondering if maybe, just maybe, he made a mistake. And by the time he realizes that, you will already be gone. Become unavailable, make him feel the absence of your presence, and let that silence be louder than any words you could ever say. There's nothing more unsettling to a man who once had access to you than suddenly realizing he no longer does. When a man hurts you, he doesn't expect to lose you. Not really. Not really. He expects you to still be there, still checking in, still reaching out, still leaving a door open for him to walk back through when it's convenient for him. He assumes that no matter what he did, No matter how careless his actions were, he still holds a place in your life. But when you become unavailable, when you remove yourself entirely from his reach, that's when the reality of his choices begins to sink in. Because up until that moment, he thought he had time. He thought he could come and go as he pleased, that you would always be there waiting, that your feelings for him gave him a permanent space in your world. He never considered the possibility that one day he would look for you and you would be nowhere to be found. Becoming unavailable is not just about ignoring his calls or blocking his number. It's about shifting your energy so completely that he no longer feels your presence in his life, even from a distance. It's about making it clear, without ever saying a word, that he no longer has access to you, to your emotions, to your time, or to your attention. He texts you, and instead of the immediate response he's used to, he gets nothing. Hours pass, days pass, maybe you never respond at all. And in that silence, in that space where your presence used to be, he starts to feel the weight of what he lost, because what once felt guaranteed is suddenly gone. What once was familiar is now unreachable. He calls expecting you to pick up like you always have, but this time, his name flashes on your screen, and you don't even flinch. You let it ring. You let it go to voicemail. You don't even listen to the message because you already know what it says. He's testing the waters, trying to see if he still holds any influence over you, but he doesn't. And that realization is something he never saw coming. The power of becoming unavailable is that it forces him to confront the reality of his actions. As long as you are there, as long as he knows he can reach you, he never truly has to face the consequences of hurting you. He can convince himself that you still care, that he still has an open door, that no matter what happened, he can always come back. But when you remove yourself from the equation entirely, he is left with nothing but the echoes of his own mistakes. This is when the regret starts to creep in. At first, he might not even notice your absence. He might think you're just giving him space, that eventually you'll reach out like you always do. But as time passes and you remain silent, something shifts. He starts to check his phone more often, wondering why you haven't texted. He starts scrolling through your social media, looking for signs of you, searching for any indication that you're still thinking about him. But he finds nothing. You aren't posting sad quotes. You aren't liking his pictures. You aren't leaving any breadcrumbs for him to follow. You've disappeared from his world, and suddenly he feels it. The absence of you becomes deafening. And that's when he starts to panic. Because now he's not just missing you, he's realizing that he may have lost you for good. He starts to wonder if you've moved on, if you've met someone else, if you've finally seen your own worth and decided that he never deserved you in the first place. The thought of you being happy without him, of you thriving in a world where he no longer exists, is something he was never prepared for. But by the time he realizes this, it's already too late, because by then, you've changed. You've grown. You've stepped into a version of yourself that no longer waits for people who couldn't see your value when they had the chance. You've become so deeply involved in your own happiness, in your own journey, that the idea of letting him back into your life no longer even crosses your mind. Becoming unavailable isn't about punishing him. It's not about playing games or making him chase you. It's about recognizing that your time, your energy, and your love are too valuable to be given to someone who took them for granted. It's about understanding that the best way to teach someone your worth is to remove yourself entirely and let them feel what life is like without you. And when you do that, when you truly step away and never look back, that's when you win. Not because you made him regret losing you, but because you finally realized you never needed him in the first place. That'll elevate your life so much that he no longer recognizes the woman he once knew. When a man hurts you, the most unexpected and powerful thing you can do is transform into someone so unshakable, so radiant, so untouchable, that he can't even comprehend how he ever had the audacity to hurt you in the first place. You don't get even. You evolve. You don't seek revenge. You rise. The woman he hurt no longer exists. The woman who cried over him, who begged for an explanation, who waited for closure, that version of you is gone. In her place stands someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who has reclaimed every piece of herself that she once gave away so freely. The moment you decide to elevate your life, you shift the entire dynamic. You stop operating from a place of loss and start stepping into a mindset of abundance. You stop seeing him as someone who got away and start seeing him as a lesson that propelled you into your greatest transformation. It starts with a decision to no longer let his actions dictate your worth, a decision to stop replaying old conversations, stop stalking his social media, stop wondering what he's thinking. None of that matters anymore. What matters is you. Your happiness, your success, your ability to build a life so fulfilling that the thought of him becomes nothing more than a faded chapter in your story. Elevating your life means shifting your focus inward. It means taking all the energy you once poured into him and redirecting it into yourself. You start prioritizing your own needs, your own growth, your own dreams. You build yourself up in a way that makes you completely unrecognizable, not just to him, but to yourself. You wake up every day with a purpose, with a fire inside you, with a determination to create a reality that aligns with your highest potential. You hit the gym, not because you want him to regret losing you, but because you want to feel strong, powerful, and unstoppable. You take care of your body, not for validation, but because you deserve to feel your absolute best. You invest in your mind, reading books, learning new skills, expanding your knowledge. You surround yourself with people who uplift you, who inspire you, who remind you of the greatness you carry within. Your energy changes. You walk with confidence. You radiate self-respect. You no longer tolerate half-hearted love, inconsistent effort, or anything that doesn't align with your new standard. And the most beautiful part, you no longer need him to notice. You don't elevate your life for him. You do it for you. But here's the irony. The moment you no longer care if he sees your glow up is the moment he starts noticing. Because men always realize what they had when it's gone. He will hear about you through mutual friends. He will see a picture of you and do a double take, wondering how the woman he once took for granted became so untouchable. He will scroll through your life trying to find a trace of the girl he left behind, only to realize she doesn't exist anymore. And that realization will eat at him. Because the one thing men fear more than anything is not just losing a woman. It's losing a woman who outgrows them. It's realizing that while he remained the same, you evolved beyond his reach. While he stayed stuck in his old patterns, you became someone he no longer has access to. But by then, it doesn't even matter. Because you are too busy living, too busy thriving, too busy enjoying the life you created for yourself to care about the one who once made you feel small. Your focus is on the future, not the past. You don't waste a single second wondering if he regrets losing you, because his regret is irrelevant. The only thing that matters is that you never allow yourself to shrink for anyone again. This is the ultimate power move, to elevate so high that you no longer exist in the same world as the one who hurt you. To become the woman who is so deeply in love with her own life that she doesn't have time to entertain what ifs or maybes. To look back and realize that the heartbreak was never a setback. It was a setup for the greatest comeback of your life. Make peace with the past so completely that he no longer holds any space in your mind, heart, or future. Nothing confuses a man more than realizing that the person he once had power over now feels absolutely nothing for him. No resentment, no anger, no lingering sadness, just pure indifference. Because when a man hurts you, he expects a reaction. He expects to live in your head. He assumes that even if you move on, a part of you will always carry the weight of what he did. He believes that his presence in your life, even in the form of a painful memory, means he still matters. But the moment you make peace with the past, you erase him completely. Making peace isn't about pretending he never hurt you. It's about acknowledging what happened, accepting that you can't change it, and deciding that it no longer defines you. It's about choosing to free yourself from the emotional chains that once held you down. Because as long as you carry the weight of what he did, as long as you replay the conversations, analyze the red flags, and wonder what you could have done differently, he still has a presence in your life. But when you let go, truly let go, he becomes nothing more than a lesson, a stepping stone on your path to something greater. There is nothing more powerful than a woman who is healed, a woman who no longer flinches at the mention of his name. A woman who no longer feels a pit in her stomach when she thinks about the past. A woman who can look back and feel nothing but gratitude for the growth that came from that experience. Because that's the moment you know you've won. Not because he regrets losing you, not because he finally sees your worth, but because you are finally free. Forgiveness is not for him. It's for you. It's not about excusing his behavior or pretending it didn't hurt. It's about choosing to no longer carry the pain. It's about understanding that holding on to resentment only poisons your own soul, that every time you let anger or sadness take over, you are allowing him to steal another moment of your life, and he doesn't deserve that power anymore. You don't need closure from him. You don't need an apology. You don't need him to admit that he was wrong, because closure is not something someone else gives you. It's something you give yourself. It's waking up one day and deciding that you are done letting the past control you. It's realizing that his actions were a reflection of him, not of you. It's choosing to stop looking back because your future is too beautiful to waste another second on someone who no longer exists in your world. There will come a moment when you see him again. Maybe you run into him unexpectedly. Maybe he reaches out with a message, testing the waters to see if he still holds space in your heart. Maybe he tries to stir up old emotions, thinking he can still get a reaction out of you. And in that moment, you will feel nothing. No urge to prove anything. No need to remind him of what he lost. No desire to reopen old wounds, just peace. And that peace will speak louder than any words ever could. Because when a man realizes that he is no longer a factor in your life, when he sees that you are not bitter, but completely unbothered, when he understands that his absence has done nothing but elevate you, that is the moment he loses all power. That is the moment he finally understands that he was never as important as he thought he was. That is the moment you walk away, not as the woman he hurt, but as the woman who turned her pain into power and never looked back. And now, here you are, standing at the edge of a new beginning. You've walked through the fire, felt the sting of betrayal, and carried the weight of heartbreak on your shoulders. You've asked the hard questions, cried the tears no one saw, and wondered if you would ever feel whole again. But through it all, through every moment of pain, confusion, and self-doubt, you are becoming something greater. You are shedding the version of yourself that tolerated less than she deserved. You are transforming into the woman who doesn't just survive heartbreak, she rises above it. There was a time when his actions had the power to break you, to control your emotions, to shake your sense of self. A time when you thought you needed an apology, an explanation, a moment of clarity that would make it all make sense. But not anymore. Because now you see the truth. He was never the source of your happiness. He was never the keeper of your worth. And the pain he caused, it wasn't a sign that you were weak. It was proof that you were meant for something greater. You've done the work. You've reclaimed your power. You've stepped out of the role of the woman who waits, who wonders, who wishes things had gone differently. You've become the woman who chooses herself, who invests in her own happiness, who understands that love, real love, doesn't leave you questioning your value. And now as you stand in the fullness of your own strength, you realize that he didn't break you. He freed you from the illusion that he was someone worth holding on to, freed you from settling for a love that was never capable of meeting you where you deserved to be met, freed you to step into the life that was always meant for you, a life that no longer revolves around what could have been, but instead what will be. Because the truth is, your story was never meant to end with him. He was just a chapter, a lesson, a detour on the way to something so much more powerful. He was the catalyst for your growth, the contrast that showed you exactly what you don't want, the mirror that reflected back the parts of yourself that needed to heal. And now, as you close the book on that chapter, you do so with gratitude, not because he was good to you, but because he made you good to yourself. There will be moments when the past tries to whisper to you. When old memories resurface, when the ache of what once was lingers in the back of your mind, that's normal, but the difference now. You don't let those memories define you. You don't let them drag you back into a space that you've outgrown. You acknowledge them, you honor the lessons, and then you release them because you are too busy building something better. And one day, maybe sooner than you think, he will look for you. Maybe not physically, but in the quiet moments of his life when he's alone with his thoughts, when he sees someone who reminds him of you, when he watches another woman walk away with the kind of confidence you now carry so effortlessly. He will wonder if you ever think about him. He will wonder if you ever missed him. He will wonder if you ever look back with regret. And the answer will be simple. No, not because you are bitter. Not because you hate him, but because you have finally stepped into the version of yourself who no longer lives in the past. You have finally become the woman who chooses herself every single time. That's the real victory. Not in making him regret losing you, not in proving anything to him, but in reaching a place where he no longer even crosses your mind, where your energy is no longer wasted on someone who failed to see your worth, where your happiness, your success, and your peace are no longer tied to the actions of a man who once thought he had power over you. This is your story now. And in this story, you are the main character. You are the one who decides how it ends and the ending. It's not about him at all. It's about you stepping forward into a future so full of love, abundance, and joy that the past becomes nothing more than a stepping stone toward your greatness. And that, right there, is the most powerful thing you could ever do. Walk away, not with anger, not with resentment, but with the unshakable knowing that the best is yet to come.